Welcome back. I am excited. I'm not gonna lie. The story is finally moving somewhere. Alright, welcome to Rokkenjima, members of the Ushiromiya family. Oh, that's right, we're reading Beatrice's letter. I am Beatrice, the alchemist for this family employed by Kinzo-sama himself. Ha! That's crazy. Quiet. I have served him for many years in accordance with our contract, but on this day, Kinzo-sama has announced the final suspension of that contract. Therefore, I ask that you acknowledge my resignation from the position of family alchemist from this day forth. How foolish. What nonsense. I can't stand to listen to it. And now, there is one part of the contract that must be explained to all present. I, Beatrice, lent Kinzo-sama a vast quantity of gold under certain terms. One of these terms specifies that all the gold is to be returned to me upon the termination of the contract. Furthermore, I am to receive everything of the Ushiromiya family as interest. Ooh. Ridiculous. It's been ridiculous from the very beginning. So it's basically one of those things, right? Doesn't it sound just like one of those contracts with the devil? The contract has expired, so they've come to collect the interest. Is she trying to grab some retirement money for her old age or something? What a cheeky witch. Battler-kun, now isn't the time to joke around. Battler made a face as if to ask, if I can't make fun of this, what can I make fun of? Some of the adults' faces were pale, while others looked dazed. After hearing this, you may feel as though Kinzo-sama has been savagely ruthless. Probably. However, Kinzo-sama did append a special clause to the contract so that you would have a chance to preserve your wealth and honor. If and only if that special clause is fulfilled, I will lose my right to the gold and the interest for all eternity. A special clause? What is it? Special clause. Beatrice retains the right to collect the gold and accumulated interest upon the termination of the contract. However, if someone is able to discover the hidden gold of this contract, Beatrice must abandon those rights for all time. The collection of the interest will proceed shortly, but if any one of you fulfills the terms of this special clause, I shall return everything, including the portion that has already been collected. Wait, so I'm assuming her collecting interest includes the family? So if any of the family die during the search, then she will, revive them? Furthermore, as the first step in this collection of Kinzo-sama's debt, I have taken possession of the Ushiromiya family head's ring, which signifies the passage of the Ushiromiya family headship from one individual to another. I ask that you confirm this for yourselves by examining the imprint on the wax seal. Are they trying to claim that that's the meaning behind this seal? That father would relinquish his ring is unthinkable. Kraus stared at the sealing wax as if trying to burn a hole through it. Eva and Rudolph were doing the same over his shoulder. Come to think of it, when we were playing chess, I did have a strange feeling that something was missing from Kinzo-san's finger. How very observant of you, Nanjo. Dr. Nanjo! Don't say something so careless just because of a vague memory. Oh. We can't prove its authenticity here. Only by asking Father directly can we determine whether he really handed over his ring and whether this letter tells the truth. Good luck. He's locked himself in that room. That's right. It's just as Kirie-san says. Do you really think Kinzo-san will tell you? This man knows the score. After all, that person's thoughts sometimes surpass the bounds of common sense. It's a nice way to say he ignores a lot of people. No matter what happens, it's still nonsense. In the first place, the illusion of gold itself is one of Father's tricks. I've already heard enough talk of that gold from the rest of you. But this is the witch speaking, right? About how the inheritance and all the assets will be handed over to the one who finds the gold, right? So maybe Beatrice-sama is Father's legal advisor or in charge of his funds. We can't possibly trust some strange person who entrusts such a suspicious paper to a child. Aniki, we need you to be frank with us. Is it possible Dad's assets are being managed by someone you don't know? His face. No, that's impossible. As the family head's representative, I control all of Father's assets. Clearly not all of them. It should be impossible for anyone to do as they please with them without me knowing it. So this must mean there are some assets you don't control, right, Kraus-ni-san? How foolish. Such assets could not possibly exist. Oh, but there is such a thing. An asset of Father's that you don't control. There is no way such a thing could exist. No, it does. It's Father's. No, Beatrice's hidden gold. Let's keep it simple. In short, Dad had some trusted confidant that Aniki doesn't even know about. Furthermore, this person has always been in charge of watching and managing the gold. Or it could be some eccentric rich person who offered him a loan with rules like a devil's contract. Could it be that this confidant, called Beatrice, is trying to test which of Kinzo's children is most worthy to be financed by her gold? Kirie's question was one that all the siblings wanted answered. Upon reflection, they realized that Kinzo's strange epitaph had hung in the hall beneath the witch's portrait for quite some time. And while it had long been whispered that whoever solved the puzzle would receive everything, no one had ever clearly stated it. It was just something that everyone had hoped might be true. And right here, right now, the thing they'd hoped for had been clearly stated in Beatrice's letter. It clearly specified that everything of the Ushiromiya family would be given to the one who found the gold. Kinzo-sama has already publicly displayed the location of the hidden gold within the epitaph under my portrait. The rules apply equally to all who can read the epitaph. If you discover the gold, I shall return everything to you. Tonight, I ask that you enjoy your battle of wits with Kinzo-sama to the fullest. I sincerely pray that this night will be both intellectual and elegant. What does that even mean? Beatrice the Golden. Let's go. Father, I know you can hear me. Please respond. The door to Kinzo's study was being violently, harshly beaten against over and over again like a percussion instrument. The yells coming from the other side belonged to Kraus, Rudolph, and sometimes Eva. It was the siblings who were trying to intrude upon Kinzo's study to question him about the truth behind that mysterious letter. Kinzo was eating. An elegant tablecloth was set over the desk, and the fabulous dinner that had adorned the table down in the dining hall was reproduced here. Kinzo continued his meal in silence. Shannon, taking away an empty plate, looked uncomfortably between the door being pounded on and Kinzo's face. Everyone is calling for you, but what should I do? Leave them. God and my meals both hold silence as a virtue. What? Should I silence them? Genji the Hitman, coming soon. There's no need. It does not even reach my ears. Oh, this father. Kinzo enjoyed his food, apparently indifferent, and I wish I had developed that skill. Genji quietly lowered his head and took a single step back. As he did, Kanon, who stood in reserve like a shadow behind and to the side of Genji, opened his mouth. Maria-sama apparently received a letter from Beatrice-sama, so I imagine they want to test its authenticity. Ha 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 ha! Has she started already then? Come, Beatrice! I have no shortage of coins to be wagered. Shall we enjoy this night to the fullest? I don't think I'll lose. Your smile will be mine for all eternity. If I could see it one more time, I wouldn't regret losing my wealth, my honor, or even my life. He's so dramatic. Well then, the roulette has begun to spin. Which pocket will the ball fall into? Noir, rouge, or house takes all. Come, you may begin, Beatrice. I'll show you the power of miracles once more. Very dramatic. Oh. Alright, what's the time? 9, 10, 10. 10 p.m. The strange letter that the witch had entrusted to Maria wiped all memories of dinner from our minds. Maria was repeatedly barraged with questions by Aunt Rosa and the other parents, and became increasingly ill-tempered when they refused to believe her. If we kids tried to butt in, they'd probably ignore us. Our parents were all stirred up, firing back and forth about the gold and the distribution of the assets and completely forgetting that we were even there. I'd already guessed they'd be talking like this in the shadows, but I hadn't thought they'd be so blunt. It gave all of us kids a considerable shock. From what we could overhear, all the parents wanted more money as soon as possible. Back and forth about grandfather's inheritance. Back and forth about the distribution of the gold if it was found. About advance payments and cash. It was so despicable, I could hardly bear to watch, even though one of them was my father. It looked like Jessica felt the same. We left our seats without being asked to, and went to hang out somewhere well away from our parents. I get it. Now I totally see why grandfather hates coming down for meals. Your family is full of douchebags. I'm so disillusioned with our parents right now. All that about money and the inheritance. How can they act like that right out in the open? Well, I'm already completely disillusioned with my old bastard. There's no way I could think any worse of him. Yee. That's exactly the same for me. Still, that freaking shocked me. Shocked me to the core. Jessica looked down at the floor, irritated. She was always talking about how bad her parents were, but maybe she hadn't really felt that way deep inside. The depths of Jessica's shock made that clear. You're all minors being supported by your parents, so you might not understand. But getting money is neither a simple nor a pretty thing. I won't try to force you to understand right now since you're still kids. You're not that much older. But even so, I want you to realize that your parents are just doing their best in their own way. Oh, great. George Aniki's gotten all mature. George Nissan, I know you're working hard as a full-fledged member of society, but does that mean you turn into a shameless, greedy vulture like our parents whenever you start talking about money and assets? If it were only for my own benefit, then no, I wouldn't want to do that. However, when your family and your employees, your subordinates and their families are all counting on you, there are some times when you must fight. I hate that kind of fight. That back and forth about grandfather's inheritance just makes me want to puke. Jessica pretended to spit violently. That harsh reaction made the depths of her pain very clear. Let's stop talking about this. All this about grandfather's hidden gold, property and inheritance is our parents' problem, not ours. I agree. At the very least, I think children have a duty to be considerate and stay out of their parents' way when they're talking together. Tch. Sounds pretty boring. Everyone knows the phrase, adults are filthy. But we had now seen that for ourselves, and that really did give us a considerable shock. George Anarchy was now pretty much an adult, and I'd already been disillusioned with my dad, so the shock wasn't that big for us. But Jessica seemed to be taking it hard. Apparently, she'd received a bigger blow than I'd thought. She always talks badly about her parents, but it looks like she hadn't changed at all on the inside. Here we go, again restating the same thing 10 times over. It drives me nuts. Even now, she's still a pure-hearted, delicate person who can't doubt others. Seriously, I want someone to edit this story. Do it like, the Dragon Ball Kai, and just shove all of it into a quarter of the time. It would be so much nicer. It's a nice story, and I'm really enjoying it, but oh my god, it drags. I'm sure she respected her parents as much as anyone else does. And then her parents started raging about going, money, inheritance, my money. Right in front of all the other parents and the children. It's no surprise she received such a shock from hearing that. Jessica-chan, please don't start hating your mother and father. I won't ask you to understand them, but at least don't hate them. You're not my supervisor, George. I get it. Just leave me alone for a bit. 6 years ago, I would have kept taunting Jessica even after she got all dejected. But I guess I really have grown over the last 6 years. I would hope so. Jesus. I realized it'd be better to leave Jessica alone right now. Jessica suddenly looked away sulkily and left the parlor. She probably wanted to be alone for a while. I could do nothing but wordlessly watch her back as she left. And George is happy again. Come to think of it, I wonder where Maria-chan went. She's probably pounding in front of the portrait. Maria truly looked up to witches, and she'd expected that coming in direct contact with Beatrice and receiving the letter as proof would surprise everyone and make them happy. However, the adults had doubted its authenticity, thoroughly bombarding Maria with questions and refusing to accept her story. Even for me, it wasn't hard to imagine how much that must have hurt Maria. We couldn't speak to Maria or Jessica. In the end, George Anarchy and I just abandoned ourselves to the sound of the falling rain in the dark night. I wonder what's happening with that typhoon. It's probably being a typhoon. Maybe there's something about it on the news. George Anarchy started walking over to the corner of the parlor where the television was. He hadn't called me over, and I really couldn't have cared less where the typhoon was on the sea now. So without going over to the television, I loitered around the window. Well, this is typhoon season in Japan right now, so it's timely at least. The wind hasn't picked up that much here, but I wonder if it's horrible over the sea. I did hear about a severe storm warning on the weather report. Ah, Kirie-san. I take it those big talks between the adults are going smoothly, yeah? She seemed to catch the sarcasm. Kirie-san shrugged. I wonder if that stomachache of a discussion will continue all night. It's not going to be fun. Well then, please enjoy playing vultures to grandfather's property as much as you'd like. I feel sick. I'll agree with you on that. If I could just slip away like you, I'd do it. Unfortunately, I can't. Even if I'm not allowed to speak, we spouses have it pretty rough too. Kirie-san took a deep breath, smiling bitterly. That's right. They probably wouldn't let Kirie-san speak since she was only married into the family. Still, as Dad's partner, she had no choice but to stay by his side and support him. She's probably had to bear the full brunt of this mental pressure much more than me. I wasn't going to apologize, but realizing that I'd spoken too harshly, I cut the sarcasm for the time being. So how does it look? Are they still stuck on the topic of the mysterious witch Beatrice? More or less. Those 4 siblings are always piling up secret agreements when they come together to discuss the division of grandfather's inheritance. They're saying that some unknown 5th person has appeared and is trying to make things even more complicated, and there's no way that'll make for a peaceful conversation. Just when you think they're snarling at each other, they'll set up a common front. Natsuhine-san's not the only one getting headaches. On the one hand, they all want a larger portion than the other siblings, so they're all rivals. But on the other hand, they don't want 1 yen to be snatched up by anyone other than the siblings, so they're also all allies. I hadn't been told the details, but the siblings were apparently discussing how to protect their shares under various situations. Ugh, that sounds like a thrilling conversation. Setting up ceasefire agreements and rules to prevent anyone from getting an unfair advantage, even preparing to resort to legal action if absolutely necessary. That they would go this far to preserve their shares was so beyond disgusting that you just had to acknowledge their resilience. So basically, Beatrice is like an assassin sent by grandfather. He probably wanted to scare the hell out of his children for talking about the inheritance without him. Ihihi. Who is this Beatrice, I wonder? If everything she claims is true, then she's a mystery figure that no one knew about until today, and she also knows about grandfather's hidden gold. On top of that, she was even entrusted with the head's ring. She must truly have been trusted by him. Well, obviously, I don't think she's a witch riding around on a broom. Hey, don't judge. But there's no doubt she's a mysterious person who's earned the right to be called a witch. If only Maria-chan would go into more detail about that. Everyone's been smothering her, even though she's just a little girl. They really scared her, and some things they might have asked now can't be asked. I wonder if those people have ever even read The North Wind and the Sun. What we do know is that Maria received a letter from a person who took the name Beatrice. She sure is shy for a mystery person, entrusting Maria with a letter and hiding away even now, when she could have just appeared and talked to us directly. What fun is that? Ha 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 ha. Hey, Batla-kun, do you really think a person called Beatrice actually exists? Who knows? Doesn't it really seem like a false name? You say that after all your names? She's like grandfather's representative, so she was given permission to take the name of a witch from his delusions. No, that's not what I meant. Right now, there's a total of 18 people here on Rokkenjima. Do you think there's a 19th person? Probably. Are there really a full 18 people on this island right now? Wondering about that, I began counting on my fingers, and it really did come out to that many. Please don't count them all. Do I think that a 19th person exists? What exactly do you mean? Just what I said. Stop repeating everything. The person who lent Maria that umbrella supposedly wasn't one of us 18. So isn't it natural to assume that a 19th person exists, and that this person lent Maria the umbrella? Well, yeah, it sure looks that way. Then where exactly is this person now? At the very least, she must have been on the island when it started raining. Probably lurking in the forest. I would. And ever since that time, the weather has grown progressively worse, so taking a boat out would be pretty much impossible. In that case, that person must still be on the island, hiding from the rain somewhere. Maybe she likes the rain. And without any of us spotting her. True, we've all been randomly prowling around all over the mansion and the guest house, but no one has bumped into a 19th person. But this island is huge. There might be other places to take shelter from the rain, other than the mansion and the guest house. At about this time, I began to realize what direction Kirie-san's suspicions were taking us in. Kirie-san was denying that a 19th person existed. Beatrice was one of us 18. Oh. In other words, she thought someone we knew well was tricking us. If Beatrice is who she claims, she would surely be the most honoured of guests, the most honoured of confidants, trusted by grandfather. There's no way grandfather wouldn't give the kind of person a warm reception. It's Genji! Genji is Beatrice! She would surely have been ushered into the mansion. However, we haven't seen anyone like that. Wait a sec, isn't this line of reasoning a bit too hasty? Sure, no one spotted this person, but that doesn't mean you can deny the possibility that a 19th person exists, right? Maybe, for some reason, they landed on this island stealthily and have been hiding ever since. It's what they call a devil's proof. It's easy to prove that something exists. If this Beatrice appears in front of us all and says hi, then it's settled. But it's impossible to prove that there's no 19th person. Yes. Battler-kun, your way of reasoning isn't bad. In our current situation, there isn't enough information to either accept or deny that a 19th person exists. But if you spin the chessboard around and think that way, we can deny the existence of a 19th person with near certainty. Spin the chessboard around was one of Kirie-san's favourite phrases. I've been influenced by those words and used them myself from time to time. When you get stuck trying to find a move in chess or shogi, then by spinning the board around and looking at everything from your opponent's standpoint, you can often see a strategy that'll give you the upper hand. It means turning things around and putting yourself in your opponent's shoes. You see? Let's say that a 19th person called Beatrice actually exists. That person must have managed, without being seen by anyone, to they're repeating everything again. To stealthily arrive on this island and remain hidden ever since. Maybe they had some reason, okay? In that case, why did they go to all the trouble of appearing before Maria and handing her the letter? It really was a contradiction. If they had some reason for hiding themselves, then they should have stayed hidden the whole time. But even so, they had appeared openly in front of Maria. Then, wait, Maria said it herself. She said the witch made her a messenger. Maybe that's because Maria was the youngest and looked the most obedient. Or maybe, hear me out, she's the least stupid of you all. Why would they need a messenger? If they just wanted a letter delivered to the family conference, they could have mailed it. If they mailed it to each of the 4 siblings, no one would be able to ignore it. There was no need for this person to carry it themselves and secretly deliver it by hand. Well, then you wouldn't have people discussing over and over whether you were a mysterious witch now, would you? Yeah, that does sound pretty weird. In the first place, if Beatrice existed and wanted to make her presence known to everyone, I swear to God, someone needs to edit this so it's not constantly repeating every 3 pages. Then she could have just openly presented herself to all of us. Despite that, she chose the vague method of appearing through a little girl called Maria-chan and only gave us a vague impression of who she was. Contradiction. Let's go a little deeper, shall we? As long as you don't repeat yourself. She appeared in front of Maria, trying to give us the impression that a 19th person existed, and yet, she still hasn't appeared before us and is hiding somewhere at this very moment. Think about those contradictions. You've got to keep these things in mind when you spin the chessboard around. In short, take a shot every time they say in short. If a person wants to leave us with the impression that Beatrice exists as the 19th person, what might their goal be? If this person wanted to hide, then they wouldn't have made their presence known. And if they wanted to show themselves, they wouldn't have used the roundabout approach of entrusting someone with a letter. Which means, it's simple. Beatrice is one of the 18 people. That's why they want to create the illusion that there are more than 18 people. The 19th person was revealed so spectacularly. If someone were to profit from this, it wouldn't be some 19th person in hiding. It'd be one of the original 18 people. Of course, this reasoning is full of holes. If you turn over even a few of its premises, it'll simply fall apart. But I'm almost completely certain it's correct. This is starting to feel pretty creepy. Someone lent Maria the umbrella and handed her the letter. Yes, you've said that 100 times now. Supposedly, none of the 18 did this. Yes, and yet Beatrice was hidden amongst those 18, or was she? What was this person planning? Hiding their true form and pretending to be Beatrice? It was Genji, I'm calling it. I suspected it might have been Maria-chan play acting, but the contents of the message were extremely complicated, and it's hard to imagine Maria-chan writing that herself. However, I can't deny the possibility that Maria-chan is working together with someone. It's Genji and Maria. Wait a second, Maria's a 9-year-old kid, right? What could she possibly be planning, and with whom? And what about her straightforward, overly honest, obedient nature? It's all a cover. Maria-chan is Beatrice. Yes, I also understand what kind of person Maria-chan is. But that's exactly why I think it's possible. That girl's a dreamer who can't help but look up to and blindly accept the existence of witches. So if a person appeared in front of her and claimed to be the witch Beatrice, Maria-chan would happily swallow it up, I think. So you're saying that if someone disguised themselves by wearing that fancy dress from the portrait, tricking Maria wouldn't be that hard? Of course. With that reasoning, all of us women would become the primary suspects. Don't underestimate Genji in a dress. Anyway, who did Maria-chan encounter? Learning the details of that question would be the best key to solving this riddle. But this key has been firmly locked away inside Maria-chan's heart. Everyone denied the existence of the witch without listening to her, barraging her too much with questions about who Beatrice actually was. She probably won't open her heart to the adults now. It's because you're all douchebags. In the dim hall in front of the portrait of Beatrice, Maria was sobbing. No. Ooh, ooh. No one believes I met Beatrice. Ooh, ooh. Even though I showed them the letter Beatrice gave, they still don't believe. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Hick, hick. Aww. That picture legitimately makes me sad. Nobody wants to see a little kid cry. Anyway, moving on. Maria-chan's holding the key. The key to whether Beatrice is one of the 18 people or a 19th person. How is she already told you it was a different person. That argument is stupid. Maria's stubborn, right? When that girl gets angry, it's pretty hard to make her feel better. Battler-kun, I think a kid like you would be better at cheering her up than an adult like me. After she's feeling better, try asking. Yes, manipulate the small child for me. I know you don't care about all this back and forth about the inheritance, but don't you find this Western Mansion mystery situation exciting? That's a sentence. Who in the world is this person who gave Maria-chan the letter? It makes your intellectual curiosity ache. Not really. You're actually pretty tough considering you're still excited after being dragged through that endless money talk. Adults can be pretty amazing. I shrugged exasperatedly. On today's word I've never said out loud before. But I did notice something. Kiria noticed how dejected I was after overhearing our parents' turbulent discussion, and was probably trying to clear the air. At the very least, I'd recovered enough to voice my complaints. She wasn't my real mother, so I've never felt like calling her mum. But it did make me think she's a real adult. What? Why would you not think she was an adult? Hey, brats. So this is where you were. Kirie, you really took your time fixing your makeup, didn't you? And I haven't even started yet. Think I'll make a habit of going out to touch up my makeup too. A good idea. I'm sorry. A woman's makeup takes a long time. So, how has the discussion been without me? Finished, I hope. Hehehe. I'm sure everything was all peaceful and harmonious. Ooh. Kirie-san poked the weak spot under my arm with her elbow. We decided to take a break to cool our heads a little. It looks like we'll be at it all night. Oh, joy. Makes me want to cry. Me too. His way of talking hadn't changed, but he couldn't completely hide his fatigue. Oh, I feel that right now. I couldn't say I was sympathetic, but he looked pitiful compared to his normal, energetic self. Still, that rain's just awful. I really don't want to go back to the guest house. I mean, there's a couch right there, just sleep on it. It looks like Natsuhine-san set up things so we could spend the night here in the mansion. What'll we do? We don't need to decide until you're done, right? If you run so low on energy that you can't return to our room, then we can take them up on their offer. You're right. We can think about it later. What about you, Battler? If I stayed, I'd just get in the way. I'll be nice and go back over there. I see. Will you go back soon? I don't know. It'd be lonely to head back by myself. I'll gather all the kids and we'll head out. Okay, you go do that. Also, Battler, you won't be going to sleep that easily tonight, right? Yeah, I'll probably be up talking with the cousins. Sounds like we'll be up all night. Is there a problem with that? I see. If you're still awake when the adults' discussion is over, I want to have a little talk as a family. Ooh, that's never a good thing. A what? That doesn't sound like you. Apparently, Kirie-san was thinking the same thing. What are you talking about? She asked him in a small voice. It looks like Kirie-san didn't have a clue what Dad meant either. I also want to talk to you about it, Kirie. I'll tell you later, so don't ask now. Oh, I hate that so much. If you have something to tell me, then you tell me right this very second, or you don't tell me until you have the time to tell me. Don't tell me there's something to talk about later. Now. Please. Question mark? I don't know anyone who neglects the concept of family as much as this old bastard. And now he's saying we're going to have a talk as a family. Both Kirie-san and I couldn't help but get wide-eyed. Don't look so terrified. I'm the one who should be terrified. After all... At that point, he swallowed his words for an instant. Even though putting on airs of importance wasn't much like my dad. You're freaking me out, Dad. Everyone in our family's gathered here now, right? Don't make a big deal out of it and spit it out. Seriously. Tonight, I will probably be killed. Oh. Nice. There was a huge crash of thunder. It must have been really close. Dad's expression, brightly illuminated by the lightning, was burned into my eyes. Dad's face, which always looked so sure of itself and which always wore a taunting expression, was strangely frail in a way I couldn't really explain. It was so worn out that he looked like a different person. What? What are you talking about? That doesn't sound like you. Giggle. Finally. I agree. What happened? You look so timid all of a sudden. It's not like you. I'm gonna go fix my makeup too. Don't follow me. Dad turned away weakly. After that, only Kirie and I were left, still wide-eyed. What did he say? Tonight he'll be killed? You don't think that mysterious letter scared him, do you? He's been watching too many serial murder movies. Kirie-san didn't answer my light-hearted words, then continued to stare at my dad's disappearing back. Battler-kun, when you told Rudolph-san to spill the beans right away, he left without telling us anything. Even though he said he had something to say to both of us, he didn't answer you. Why? Spin the chessboard around. What do you see? The opposite color of chess. Well, when he said he wanted to talk but then couldn't, that's a contradiction. What? Can you see something by looking from Dad's perspective? Giggle. Yes, I can see something. He wants to talk about something. No shit. However, he doesn't have the courage to bring it up. So he actually means chase after me, talk to me, and ask me about it yourself. Then he should have said that. By saying don't follow me, he actually means the opposite. That's not how the world works. He actually means follow me and force me to answer. Seriously, what a spoiled brat. You tell him. What? Can you really call that reasoning? That's ridiculous. Hehehe. Can great private and police detectives deduce the emotions and feelings between men and women? They can't, right? Figuring out the feelings of the opposite sex is an even more advanced art than exposing the tricks in difficult crime cases. If you ask me, romance novels have much deeper mysteries than masterpiece mystery novels. I see. Is that how it is? I'll stand alongside that spoiled brat. He normally loves to bluff, but tonight he's completely tired out from that heated discussion. He probably wants someone to lean on at the moment. And responding to that need is the role of his partner. Ha! Sounds passionate. Then I'll leave that old bastard in your hands. Yes, leave it to me. Wait, what? She just told him to chase after him and now she... Oh, okay, whatever. I called out to Kirie-san's departing back. Huh? What? I wanted to say thanks. Thanks to you, my gloomy mood has cleared up a lot. That's good. Communication is important. And she faded into thin air. After answering with a wink, Kirie-san followed after Dad. Alright, we're going to end this episode here. And we're going to find out what's happening with Natsuhine-san in the next one. See ya.